Hello and welcome to the Big League. As always, Connor Somerville, joined by Aiden Silliphant. And today, and this week, because we only do one episode a week, we're joined by the man who has a soccer team named after him, Milan Stanchu. Milan, how are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I've been a fan of the show. I've been keeping up, just seeing how you guys talk to everyone else in the program, and happy to be here. Happy to talk to you guys.
We're happy to have you. We save people because we know you're a big soccer guy, and you also do basketball. So this week felt sort of perfect with everything that sort of happened. And you can do a little bit of hockey. We're doing a little bit of hockey. But Aiden, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I think that's a pretty good intro. He has a soccer team named after him. Wow, that's good that you thought of that, Connor. That's a good intro. I'm doing good. Yeah, can't complain. Just chilling, not doing too much. Got work at 3. That's it. Just work, podcasts, trying to enjoy summer.
And because of that, we're going to have a shorter show than our typical 3 to 4 hours.
It's never that long.
3 hours.
No.
Except for the one time with, who was it?
Stefano?
I think Stefano, yes, that was it.
Wow, you guys sat down for 3 hours?
Yeah, it's pretty long.
Wow.
It was a long show.
I like that, though.
We got deep into stuff and some good debates and all that stuff, which I'm sure will happen today. But Aiden is going to be flapping in the wind later in the show as we talk about basketball and soccer. Trying to struggle to get through that, but we'll get there. First, though, we have to start off with the interview, because we always start with the interview, and we always start with the one question we love asking people, because we love to watch them squirm, and we're terrible people. But what is your first memory of sports, and what is your first memory of sport media, Milan?
Well, first and foremost, I prepared myself for this question because I watched the episodes. I purposely went. I was like, I don't want to get caught off guard here, so I'm gonna go look at what kind of questions they might ask me. So my first memory of sports, I immigrated to Canada in 2005. So my first really memory of sports was, I'd say like playing with my grandfather outside. We used to live right next to a soccer stadium actually. So like basically, if we went onto our balcony, you can fully just watch the game off the balcony. So I guess that's what I would say my first memory of sports would be, because other than that, I wasn't really an active kid. Like maybe around like 9 or 10 years old, I got into judo, and that put me into like playing more sports, basketball, soccer, volleyball, stuff like that. But my first memory of sport media, I'd say probably as a young kid, just watching sporting events with my grandfather. I'd say like Champions League finals. I remember when he first got me to support my favorite team, AC Milan. I remember watching the '05 Champions League final with him. That was heartbreaking because we lost after leading 3-0. Yeah,
We know the
very,
feeling.
very
Oh,
bad.
damn. I didn't know about that.
Trust
Oh
us.
yeah, yeah. Leafs fans
Oh, yeah.
all know
That's
it,
perfect.
know it all
3
too
nothing.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'd say those are my like most memorable times in terms of sports and sport media.
That's pretty
All right.
cool, especially the first part to that answer. Like, I don't think any of us grew up like basically outside of a stadium. That's really cool. So obviously soccer is just a huge part of your life then, and moving into sport media now, that's kind of like what you're an expert at, soccer in specific. So that's really cool. Did you play a lot of soccer growing up then?
I only played, I believe it was 2 seasons of house league and then 1 season of
Okay.
rep. But I didn't really like play a lot of soccer because at the same time I was doing judo and I was on the provincial team. So it was kind of hard for me to manage both at the same time. I was doing like 6 trainings a week, and it was pretty hectic. So I ended up kind of having to choose, and then by the time I got to high school, I had to give up one or the other because it was hard on, doing 6 times a week and managing school. So yeah, it was a lot, but I tried to do what I could.
Were you named after AC Milan?
I was not. I was
No.
actually named after my mom. My mom's name is
Okay.
Radmila, so she just went to take her last 4 letters of her name, and she was like, "What can I do with this?" And then she basically just realized Milan's a nice name or Milan is a nice name, so she went with
Nice.
that.
It just so happened your grandfather was very supportive of that, I assume.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Why was he a fan of AC Milan?
Well, he he became a fan because of my name, really. He's one of those. soccer fans that doesn't really have a team. You know, he's a fan of the game and he watches whatever's on. Like if he's watching like third division English football, or he's watching like he'll literally, like, we live in Richmond Hill, so for example, he would just go to the park and just go and watch someone play. Like he's that much of a fan of the game that in the sense he doesn't care, but because I care and he notices that I care, as you can see, I got a nice little flag over there, um, all the red and black everywhere. Like he kind of got into Milan himself because of that, but other than that, he's just a big fan of the game. Just loves great players and just watches as much as he can.
And AC Milan, that would have been the peak, sort of that mid 2000s when they had like Ronaldinho, Kaka. Oh, I think they had Ronaldinho. Yes.
Yeah, around, yeah, 08, 09. What really got me like very massively supporting them, I'd say, are, yeah, Kaka, and coming from Eastern Europe, Andrei Shevchenko. That was like my idol. Uh, my country, Moldova, is right next to Ukraine, so like for me, like he was the best player that could ever be. Like I idolize him very much. So yeah, so there's just so many I could just go off on a tangent talking about these guys, but that's yeah, I've always been a big fan, and nothing's changed. Even when the team's gone down, I've always been here. So
And last question before we actually get into the interview.
yeah,
Did you ever see Kaka play in Toronto?
I did not, and I
Oh,
regret that massively. The only like big players I've seen in Toronto, I've seen Nesta because I went to a Montreal TFC game. I have seen Drogba.
yep,
Who else have I seen? I mean, I've seen Jovinko and all those players.
obviously.
I saw TFC Liverpool, which I don't know if a lot of people saw that
Oh,
game in
okay.
2012, and when that was Brendan Rodgers' first game in charge. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Other than that, no. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see Kaka here. I didn't get to see Ibra. I wish I could see Ibra in person. That would be. I know
Ooh,
you told
true.
me you were at the Ibrahimovic game, right? When he scored the 500th goal.
Yeah, I was at that game.
Wow.
That was one of the only times in my entire life I've seen an opposing stadium stand up and applaud a goal, because it was that disgusting. Like
I mean, he
I
did something like a karate kick. Like it was
yeah,
out of
it
this
was like
world.
karate back heel sort of thing. It was
Yeah.
insane. And what was even crazier is like the next day, a video came out of him doing it in training when he was with PSG. So he meant to do it. It was insane. It was insane.
Uh,
But I'll tell you a couple of things related to that after we finish.
all right,
Uh,
sounds good.
we need to dive back into the interview though, because this is supposed to be about you and not AC Milan, even though that's basically your entire
My
life.
personality trait, yeah, pretty much.
When did you hear about the program?
So I first heard about the program in grade 10. I don't know if, well, probably you guys had careers in civics class, right?
Yep.
So yeah, our teacher made us like go through like all the programs and all universities in Ontario that we could potentially look into. And I saw sport media. I'm like, this sounds perfect. Like this sounds so good, right? And then after that, it was a little hard to convince my mom to let me apply to sport media because she's a little bit more traditional in that sense. She wanted me to do something else and pursue something else. But after about a year and a half of convincing, by the time those grade 12 January applications came through and I had to pay the application, she was over it, and she was happy when I got my acceptance about, what was it, May or June of grade 12. So yeah, just been like that ever since, and I'm glad I'm in the program. I mean, lots of sports to talk with everyone, lots of stuff to learn. I mean, audio, video, like on air stuff, writing, like so many different aspects of sport media that you don't even think about when you're actually applying into the program. So yeah, it's a great program. I'm happy I'm here. I'm happy I picked it.
Yeah, there's a lot of aspects that go into it. It's not just the sports talking, it's like everything behind the scenes. So, were you considering any other program like in grade 10 or like around that time as like a backup, or was it just strictly sport media, ride or die with that program, or did you have any backups?
Yeah, I had a few. So I had journalism at Ryerson. I did French all 4 years because my mom was a French teacher. So
Okay.
I ended up doing two programs like London. I think it was undecided major and media communications or something like that. And then what else did I do? I think I did U of T journalism, but I knew I
Okay.
was never going there. Even if that was like no one else took me in and they were gonna take me, I knew I was not going there. No
I
disrespect to
applied
U of
there
T. I
too.
just wasn't going.
Wait, why weren't you going to U of T? Like, why?
It was in
What's wrong with U of
Scarborough
T?
first and
It's the
foremost.
Scarborough
That was
campus.
already
That's
going
the
to
Oh,
be
main
a
reason.
commute and a half already.
I see.
It was too much.
The Scarborough campus sucks. And I can say that because I have a friend whose brother went there and he hated the campus. So choose Ryerson over U of T. Um, I guess you are going the media route pretty much no matter what, whether it be journalism or sport media or some other media program. When did you sort of decide that that's what you wanted to do?
That's a tough question. I'd probably say around like I'm a bit hard headed in the sense that when I like see something and I want it, like that's all I'm kind of aiming for.
So
So
it
I'd
was
say
in that
probably
civics and careers class.
yeah, I'd probably say around then, like that
Yeah,
day, I
yeah,
was
yeah.
just like, yeah, no, I'm going to that program. And then it was one of those things where like I was already working towards doing like a podcast, like just recording something on my own, having put it up on SoundCloud or something like that. And then like everyone called me Millennium Smith in high school because all we would do is in the cafe we would just show up and we'd all just argue like the dumbest debates, but we would just go in, right? Like whether it's something on basketball, soccer, whatever it may be, we're just everyone was like they all came to me. I remember the season the Warriors went like the season after the 73-9 season. I believe I predicted their record to this one guy and then he just like the regular season record. I think it was 67-15 again. They won again, and then and the whole time he's like, they're not gonna win 50 games. Like I don't care if they have a super team. Like they're not, bro. Trust me, they're winning 67 games. And then ever since, everyone kind of started respecting me in that sense. Everyone started coming to me for predictions or anything in that sort. So yeah, I'd say probably around grade 10 was when I decided I wanted to go into sport media and kind of kept working towards it.
Okay. Well, speaking of working towards it, what kind of classes were you taking then? Like in grade 11 and 12? Did maybe try and help you get into the program, or were you doing anything on the sides to help you get in as well?
So I actually, now that I'm, out of high school, I regret not taking more drama classes because I feel like that would have helped me massively in this program because, the public speaking
Interesting.
stuff.
As someone who
Why do
took
you?
drama classes, trust me, drama classes don't really help you for on-air stuff.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
Oh, I
They
thought it would help me a little bit, but
they help you perform in front of a crowd. That's about it. Eh, maybe I just had bad drama teachers.
Well,
But
what's the alternative? So like if you're not taking drama, you're taking like art, I
I think
guess.
visual art, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So drama would probably help you out a little bit more.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I took it in grade 10, but then I was just like, okay, well, I got my art credit out of the way. I don't really care anymore. But like now, looking back, I'm like, I probably should have taken at least 1 or 2 more years.
Okay.
Um, Other than that, yeah, I kind of did a little bit of a podcast on the side during high school. Just me and my buddy just would go on about 40, 45 minutes, just talk about what's going on in sports. Um, yeah, no, I kind of just worked towards that. Just kind of was like keeping up with everything I could in the sport media world and in the sports world, and hope for the best with my application. I'm not gonna lie.
who did you interview with?
Dan Robson, which was
Okay.
Huh.
terrifying when I went to the interview.
Have we had
Oh
someone
wow.
who had
I don't
Robson?
know. I don't remember hearing that name before actually. Yeah.
I don't think we have. You might be a first here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
remember.
had Dan
Heard
Robson.
maybe I don't know, it's tough to say. We've done a lot of these, but
Who did you
yeah,
guys have?
that's an unfamiliar one. I had Joe
Okay.
Recupero
Okay.
and
I
Connor had Donna,
yeah,
right? Yeah, you had
yeah,
Donna.
Anna Morrison.
Yeah.
From
Yeah, I mean, Dan Robson was a really cool guy. He was very like I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I was shaking, and he could tell. So he was like trying to help me out as much as he could. And I don't know, he was pretty asking me pretty straightforward questions. Just trying to get to know why I would be a good fit for this program, like what I would really like, what do I do on the side that kind of helps this kind of stuff, or like what am I interested in. So yeah, thank God for that interview, and God bless the road that we're here, I guess. That
Did you
brought us here.
know did you know who Dan was heading into the interview? Like did you know like where he was like in the media industry?
So basically, my girlfriend's cousin was in third year in sport media,
Oh,
right? So she also helped me out a little bit with the application here and there, like just kind of give me pointers, doing a little bit of proofreading on my essay here and there. And then I told her, she's like, "Who do you have for your interview?" And I said, "Dan Rob." She's like, "He's the best. You'll be fine." I'm like, "Perfect." I
Okay,
went in
cool.
there. I was still a little nervous, but I went in there and I knew that at that point, I knew that if I say the right things, if I just, say everything that's, what I think is the true identity of me, basically, I'll be fine. And that's what happened. So I'm glad it went out that way.
Do you remember what day you interviewed?
It was during March break. I remember what happened that day. I remember Justin Timberlake was in Toronto and he was at the Jordan store, and then it was like this whole thing because apparently me and Jelani actually had the same interview, and he was losing his mind because he's the biggest Justin Timberlake fan out there, and he missed out on that because he was doing the interview. It was this whole thing. I think it was a Tuesday or a Wednesday, one of the two. But yeah, it
Interesting.
was yeah.
I was just gonna say, interesting. He didn't bring that up on our. Wonder why. He's gonna kill
Yeah,
you
I don't know.
probably for that.
Nah, he
Really
won't. He
funny
won't.
quote.
Listen, he has no shame in admitting for him, Justin Timberlake and Michael Jackson, those are the all-time greatest artists, and I gotta respect it. I mean, they're two greats, some good music, so yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
gotta
not wrong.
respect it.
One of
Yeah.
them is worse person than the other, but we won't get into that. Instead, we'll get into your experience at Ryerson, some of the courses you've enjoyed. So we like asking this question. It's usually the same answer every time, but we still ask it because we do get the variation every once in a while. What's been your favorite course so far?
Wow. I'd probably say On Air. What did you
Okay.
guys
Okay.
what
A
did you
little
guys
bit
like about
different.
the On
Yeah.
Air? Did you guys like that one or no?
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. It was,
I don't
yeah.
know. There was like that, and I'd say, the course we had with Dan Berlin first semester of that year when we went and did like all these different journalism things. Like
Journalism. Yeah.
we went to like a practice to do an interview, and then we did those days when we come in and he gives us a story, and then we have to do a story like in groups. I'd say
Yeah.
those two are kind of for me tied because honestly, other than going online towards the end of the second semester, that was the best year for me. I mean,
Yeah,
we had
that
a
seems like
great,
ages ago now.
yeah.
Like just thinking about it, like when was the last time we ever did something like that? And like, will we ever do something like that again? Like in fourth year? Like,
I hope
just
so, but
practicum, like
yeah. But even like that, yeah, like you said, that seems like forever ago. And like after that, like all we did was online stuff. I remember we had it was mainly lectures anyways, but then we had On Air online, and that was just tough because all we had to do was just record over our computers basically. But then I remember Seth kind of got together the crunch time thing. A lot of us got
yeah.
involved in that. That was a lot of fun, especially during the pandemic, kind of trying to get involved somewhat some way.
It helps that you've crushed everyone for 2 weeks in a row
No,
until
I
your
lost the second
eventual
week. I lost the
downfall
second
on week
week.
3.
It was no,
You
I
lost
didn't
the
even win
second
this.
week? No, you won.
Yeah, I lost the second week by like 2 votes
Oh,
No, you
to
won.
really?
to
Didn't you win
Pat.
back to back to back?
I wanted to go back to back and I couldn't. That's what hurt.
Oh,
Well,
I would
someone
have been.
did, right? Didn't someone go
I
back to
think
back to
Pat
back?
went
someone
back
did.
to back. I think Pat went back to back. Pat
That
Talon.
sounds more familiar.
Oh, Patrick
Yeah.
Talon. Oh,
Yeah, because
maybe.
me and him were neck and neck in week 2 when I was in week 2, but then he beat me
Huh.
off by like 2 or 3 votes.
Let me see if I can pull up this crunch
The
time.
competitive nature in me was a little salty, but I got over it in the end.
I think you went against Aiden in one of the weeks.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
maybe Aiden beat him then.
No. Oh, I remember that week. Yeah, it was Pat and you and hold
Oh,
on, let's
me.
see.
Oh, yeah. It was me, you, Pat, and then who else was in that week?
So whoever the next
Janik.
week isn't
Oh,
watching.
yeah. That was jerseys. I remember this. That was
Yeah,
jerseys.
that was
Yeah.
jerseys. Yeah. I picked the NHL team. You know, I guess people are more fans of the football and the basketball than the soccer. So
Nah, but considering our program's demographic, you had a good pick, I'd say.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And they did actually get new jerseys. I picked Ottawa, and they ended up getting new jerseys. But yeah, so let's see, you beat Pete, Elizabeth, and Ethan
Yeah.
in the first week, and then
Yeah,
Patrick just outbeat you.
Yeah. It was a close battle.
Yeah, and then Patrick went on I think he just won. He won back to back. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, he won back to back. Yeah, that's a good idea that Seth came up with there, and I think
Yeah.
Drew was a part of it too,
Yeah. Drew
and
Frank. Yeah.
I think
Maddie.
Maddie as well. Yeah, helped out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool. Like they did really well. They gained some followers too. Like it's a good show.
Especially
Like
during the pandemic, that was like the main thing of getting everyone kind of doing something, right? Because like, yeah, everyone was doing their own things, a little bit of podcasting, a little bit of writing, but like getting everyone to do something like we would do in a class, like it was a long
Yeah.
time coming at that point. And I'm glad it happened that whole summer. It was kind of like what the story of the summer was, and it was a lot of fun. But back to like the classes thing, yeah, I'd say those two are probably my favorite ones. I don't know, I'd say the on air one got me a little bit more out of my comfort zone, which I appreciated, because although I love on air, I do get a little bit shy on air, and I'm glad that I had the experience. I had Joel Darling, and then with him, like he would let us do like 3, 4, 5 takes before we're happy with it. He's like, are you sure you're okay with this one? Just submit this one. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm cool with this one. And then with the journalism class, there were just so many different things that we did, so many different avenues, like going to the practices. I remember I went with Bowen, Skylar, Jelani, and Emil. We pulled up to Downsview Park for the soccer practice, and it was freezing. It was the coldest I've ever felt in my life. Like I was only in a sweater and maybe sweats, and I was trembling the whole time. We had to wait for the whole practice to end. That was about 9 o'clock, and then we do the interview. We had to hold back the players and the coach. Did an interview with them, and then commuting back, and then the next day I had an 8 a.m. class. So it was fun because of the struggle. You know what I mean? It was like something I'll remember that I did.
Yeah,
And
hard work. Lots of work.
Yeah. What about you guys? What were your guys' favorite classes in throughout sport media so far?
We haven't thought about this. We never get asked.
Wow, so you guys don't get interviews.
We just ask
but
the
you throw the
questions
hard-hitting
here.
questions, eh? I
Yeah,
see
we
how
just
it
ask
is.
the questions. We don't get asked the questions.
I
It's
see
great.
how it is. I see how
I
it is.
always overanalyze things. So like I could easily probably just say like 5 that I really enjoyed, but like to pick my favorite, I'd really have to think about it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, but
I
the
probably
sport.
go- Oops,
I'll say
sorry.
sport graphics, the one that you're taking this upcoming semester is one of my favorites for sure. You're gonna like that.
I hope so. I want to get better at graphics. I want to get on the level of all our whole program just does the craziest graphics, especially your guys' layout for your podcast, like on Instagram.
That's absolutely nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me.
I mean, it's not. I mean, we don't really keep up with that. We got to do better. We got to do better for sure.
I mean, it
on
looks
social
good.
medias.
I know when you were doing the Leaf game recaps and even the Habs game recaps, like you had that little like basically
Oh,
outlay
that's
where you had,
unlimited.
yeah, on
That's
Unlimited. That looked nice.
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, I want to get to that level at least, something that I can do, because me and Bowen do are obviously the Slightly Biased Sports Talk. So I want to try to upgrade that to some sort of level. Right now, we're struggling a little bit with few views, few listens, but it's really like if I start concentrating on that, then I'm never gonna actually end up getting better at it, right? So I want to just kind of elevate that to in terms of graphics, audio. We want to do more Instagram posts, maybe TikToks. Try to get it out there, right? So.
It's always a
for
struggle.
sure.
Like we get 20 listens maybe an episode if we're lucky.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. Like our audience is very niche because of the episodes that we put out, like the interviews. Like I think people outside of the program might not find it interesting, but I guess people within our program do find it interesting to hear about their peers. But it's more so like if we do like a strictly like a sports episode, like we did one on Logan and Floyd Mayweather, like a preview.
Okay.
And that was one of our better ones. I think I got over like 50, 55 views, something like that. So
it's impressive.
It's just,
it was probably long, right? It was probably a good hour and a half, maybe even 2, right?
I can't remember. Maybe that one was like around an hour or something like that. But yeah, I think just like doing these is just good for experience, right?
Exactly.
And just, putting it out there and having a portfolio and showing people, in the future what we've been doing. And it's just good to put out content. So I like what you guys are doing now. I think, did you guys do that throughout the school year? Your
So
podcast with Bowen?
we did we did a different show. We did a radio show on Spirit Live, the No Cap recap. But then I don't know. We
Right.
first started it with Jay, and then Jay wasn't able to join us for second year. So me and Bowen just did it alone. Had guests every now and then on the radio show. Obviously, COVID kind of stopped it at some point, and then with school, we kind of just got busy. We couldn't start it up, and then we kind of restarted it now that school's over. Like we've been doing it consistently. I'd say once a week since about May. We have about 15-ish, 16-ish episodes, something like that. Kind of, I don't know if, well, you obviously, I know you don't really follow soccer that much, but I don't know if you heard about like the Super League stuff that was happening, like when they were trying to basically get all the big teams together. That was when we kind of decided we got to get this podcast together because this is too big of news to not talk about. But yeah, like you said, like honestly, the second you start concentrating on like the views and stuff, like you're just not gonna be producing the best content, right? You got to produce what you believe is the best, and the views will come on their own, right? Obviously, that's what you would like to see. You'd like to see a lot of activity on it, people sharing and whatever. But you know what I mean? I like your show in the sense that people that are coming into the program, they see like the side of like everyone that's already in it, like what they enjoyed already, what they come in with, what kind of side they come in with. So I think your show is like a great kind of segue for these kids that are applying into sport media on top of, obviously us that want to know more about our peers and stuff like that.
All of us stalkers, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the goal with it.
Yeah, and another thing is like everybody's doing this just to practice. Like how many
100%.
opportunities do you get to interview somebody? Realistically, you're 36. Interview 36 for us, at least.
That's halfway through the program. It's impressive.
Yeah, halfway through a year. And obviously we probably won't get to everyone. But like it's also interesting hearing people's stories, and I like doing the research. So
yeah,
it's fun. It's enjoyable. We get to learn. We get to actually look back at what everybody's accomplished, and also some very odd things, which we will get to your YouTube channel. Trust me. But
wait a second. What YouTube channel?
I was like, wait, what?
What YouTube channel? This research that you're talking about. Now I'm a little nervous.
Oh, do you not know about your YouTube channel?
Well, I don't know which one you're talking about. Channel. I don't know which one you're talking about. So let's. I gotta find out more.
Okay. Well, I only found one.
Okay. That's a little.
I didn't do a ton of research, but
it's enough. If you found one, that's more than enough.
Well, I didn't know about your high school podcast.
I think it's actually privated now. I had it only on SoundCloud.
Okay, that makes sense. Why it didn't come up? Because I guess I can give a bit of a backstory. For research and stuff, you probably saw I clicked on your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
At least a couple times.
Yeah, there's nothing there though.
Facebook, Instagram, check both of those.
Facebook got blocked. Instagram's there. That's it.
Facebook, there's nothing. Instagram, your posts aren't the juicy stuff. It's the posts you've been tagged in that I find the good stuff.
Interesting.
You were clear.
Connor's an expert at this, by the way.
Sorry?
I respect it. This is, this is Sherlock Holmes level, like super sleuthing in 2021. This is Arsène Lupin.
20 minutes of work, man. It's really not much. But what did you say, Aiden?
No, I just said like you're an expert at this, like finding the research for people.
Yeah, I've done like 36 episodes. Like Google too, which Google is very annoying.
That's the worst. I know what you find when you search my name. Oh, no.
You're fine. You're fine.
I know, but there's pictures of me as like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old when I first got on the internet. Oh, Lord.
I did not see any of those.
I don't know how I'm getting so lucky today, but whatever.
Normally I do it on my laptop, but obviously it's basically useless at this point. So I do it on my phone, and I only private search on my phone. So it doesn't bring up like other related searches. So it doesn't put everything together like it used to.
Okay.
But yeah, like that's sort of where I go. I look at the Twitter just so I get the Twitter handle. I forgot to do that with you actually. I can't look through every single tweet because you tweet a lot.
Yeah, I spam tweet. Yeah.
Which again, it's great because you're like one of the only soccer followers who actually tweets. But I do stuff like that, and I find a whole ton of stuff. I don't know. It's fun. It's entertaining, and it fuels my stalker-ishness. But
All right.
we'll
So what
get
did you
to
find? Let's get into it.
no. We
I think
got
it's
one more
time. Can we
question
get
to
into
ask
it?
before we can dive into the personal
All
stuff.
right.
You
All
know,
right. Fair
Okay.
enough. Fair enough.
we've
Okay.
done
Well, I
36.
feel like
Come on.
don't we asked that at the end of the interview though.
Okay, you want to do it at the end? Yeah, let's do it at the end.
Okay.
Well, I didn't find a ton of stuff on Milan, but obviously you mentioned the podcast you do with Bowen,
Yes.
the No Cap Recap, now slightly biased sports talk.
Yes.
That's on Instagram if anybody wants to check it out. You do episodes every once in a while. Also, it'll be linked down below because I make Aiden do extra work.
Yep, link in the description.
Appreciate it.
You started this in like 2019, I think. Yes?
The account?
The podcast.
Yeah. So February 2019, we started the radio show. We did it for that semester, second semester, first year, first semester, second year, first semester, third year, second semester, third year, second year, and then first semester, third year. And then we did a little bit of it in second semester, third year, and obviously we got cut short because of COVID. And then we went on to doing just the podcast.
Or
because we were doing it through Spirit Live.
Right.
COVID started the end of second year.
Was it second year or third year?
That's
what it was. Oh,
yeah.
My bad. Yeah, second year. I'm losing track of time at this point.
We all are.
And then you continued it in third year on Spirit Live.
We actually didn't. We just thought with how it was like over Discord and all this stuff, we were like, let's try to see if we can do it in person. And at that point, I was a little struggling for hours, and I was still interested in doing a show. So I actually joined Skylar Jelani and Emmanuel on Northside Talks. I was doing that with them for 2 semesters.
And you're just stealing all my research. I got that next, but a little bit more on Slightly Biased Sports Talk. Why the name change?
We just felt it was more us, We wanted to change it up. It was more kind of rolled off the tongue a little bit more. No Cap Recap just kind of felt like you had to say the full name to say it, because NCR is just kind of a weird acronym for a podcast. SBST, you can kind of just go through it real quick.
Huh?
NCR?
You've heard that before?
Yeah, I feel like I've heard. Oh no, it's NPR, isn't it? The
Tiny Desk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I don't know. NCR just kind of didn't seem more, or No Cap Recap didn't really seem like it kind of reflected us and like what we talk about. I don't know. Slightly Biased Sports Talks kind of reflects us a little bit more because we say it's slightly biased, but we're at least I'll speak for myself, not for Bowen. I'm extremely biased. So I don't know. I thought it was a good fit for us.
And we'll have to get
Bowen on it. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get Bowen on at some point. The list is so long, and like we have people in mind for certain things. So we only just got Jack Shapiro out of the way, who we wanted to get on for a while because we finally had tennis news.
He's at the tennis game today, actually.
Is
he? He's at a National Bank Open. Yeah.
I always thought it was the Rogers Open or Rogers Cup.
But
it got renamed basically, right?
Yeah, it got renamed this year. This is the first year.
Oh, I thought that was like a different tournament.
No, it's the same tournament. It got renamed.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so I think Bianca played last night, and I think she won.
Nice.
So we'll get into sports. But you mentioned Northside Talks. You did it with Jelani, Skylar. How did you get involved with it? Was it just sort of something they said there was like a outstanding offer, or was this like a sort of natural come together?
It was basically we both guested for each other a few times on when we did the radio shows. So I asked them to come on. They asked me to come on a few times, especially because they also had Darius at one point, but then Darius switched out of the program. So they're more than happy to have another guest. So then I was like a little bit desperate for hours, especially with the pandemic. Like I was like, we're not going to really have Rams live. I can't really guarantee myself hours there. I don't want to put myself in a bad position for fourth year. I'm going to try to do as much as I can. And I still love doing shows, right? I still love trying to be as active as I can on top of trying to keep up in terms of school. So I just texted Skylar. I was like, hey, I was just wondering, like, you think I can hop on the show with you guys? And he was like, you have to, like, we need you, please, please, please. And he added me to the group chat, and it was history since then.
That's sick.
Yeah,
How many
I,
hours
I
do you have?
think
What's that?
How many hours do you have?
Not enough. I probably need another 3 or 4 Rams lives this year.
Okay, so
Okay.
what? Rams Live is 5. We'll go 5 hours. So you're probably around 40.
Ish, I'd say, yeah. 40, 35, something like that, yeah.
That's not that bad. You're in a pretty good spot.
can knock
Hopefully.
that easy. If there's well, there will be Rams live because there's
Yeah, there has to
university
be live
games.
sports,
So.
right? So they have to have
Yeah,
Rams
yeah,
live. You guys are all
yeah.
done your hours, I'm assuming, right?
Technically I need 5 more.
I need
Okay.
like 1 or
One
2
more.
more hours
Wow.
Yeah.
total. I'm like,
Wow.
Dude,
that close. So we got to do a Spirit Live show in the fall.
yeah, let's do the Spirit Live show. I'm gonna say, and I don't know if I should be talking about this right now, but you know the graphics thing that I started last year, Connor, with esports.
Yep.
So like when you go to submit your hours online, that's not an option. Like you can't say that.
Wow.
Like there's no esports option that you can click on to submit your hours for. So I don't know if I can even get my hours for that.
I guarantee you can. You just need to talk
Yeah.
to people.
Because yeah, when I applied, it says like for creative practice hours. So yeah, I just got to talk to the person in charge about it. So yeah, I don't know. Let's hope because that was like at least 15 for sure. So let's hope. But yeah,
there's a
we're gonna
lot-
do Spirit Live again, anyways.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways you can get hours. Like we got practicums coming up. You just help with a practicum, and
Exactly,
I
and you're
guarantee
done,
you,
basically.
we'll give you hours. Like it's not an issue, I don't think at this point.
For sure,
If
for
you were
sure.
at like 10,
Then that's a problem.
Yeah.
Or
you're
none.
at like 40, you're fine. You'll be
Or
chill.
like, I don't know. Is there anyone, do you think, that got to 4th year with like no hours done? Like in the
Yes.
history of the program? Yeah, you think
yeah.
so?
I think probably
program?
somebody in our year.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it afterwards in terms of.
What was I gonna? I was gonna say something. Oh man, I was gonna say something. I forget. Brain fart. Something about the hours, but yeah, I don't know. Move on. Let's move on.
We're all chilling. Northside Talks. Next, I guess logical lead on to that is you've guest appeared on I Got Next like twice at this point, and he's done about 8
Skylar,
podcasts or something like that. So you're a pretty regular guest at this point. Did that sort of grow in terms of your relationship with Skylar from Northside Talks, or was that something you had before even starting both the shows?
I think, well, I met Skylar in 1st year, so, and we realized we kind of have the same interests. We both really like soccer, kind of watch the same content in terms of YouTube and stuff like that, shows and stuff like that. So we got along in that sense. And he started his podcast, obviously, and it's kind of like not just sports, but lifestyle as well. So in that sense, we were able to talk about like a lot of different things all at the same time. So I guess it was more so kind of started from before rather than the podcast. But I think recording with him ever so often, whether it's on Northside or on his podcast, we got to know each other a lot more. Listen, every podcast you record someone, you learn something else from someone, right? So, yeah, I'd say that was a pretty good way to get to know Skylar a little bit more, and we hang out every now and then. We live pretty close by from each other, so.
Okay. Cool. Did you know anybody coming into the program from our year?
From our year?
Obviously, you knew your girlfriend's cousin.
Yeah, from 3rd year, yeah. No, I don't think I knew anyone. But I know Skylar and Jelani went to school together, which is, they went to high school together, which is pretty impressive.
That meant a lot of overlap in the interviews.
Did we do those back to back, or I think we did them back to back?
We did them pretty much back to back. Yeah, that was a mistake. No, I think we might have had a meal in the middle because we had to. It was the Skylar Emil at some point because Emil said he was better at soccer than Skylar, and
right,
we were gonna bring that up.
Something like that, yeah. What's the plan in 4th year then for you with the podcast? Are you gonna stick with Northside Talks? Or are you gonna do your own thing with Bowen, or is Spirit Live a question next year? Or are you gonna do it?
Spirit Live for sure. I think I'm doing both pretty much. I'm gonna try to keep up with Bowen, try to do every week because it's still only about an hour and a half to 2 hours a week. Like, I can give those hours up.
Oh yeah.
And in terms of Spirit Live, if I hope it's in person, I don't know if it will be, but if it is in person and we can kind of work it around making it on that Wednesday, that'll be perfect because that's probably when we're all gonna be in downtown for in-person classes.
Hmm.
That would be ideal. Yeah, I kind of just want to do as much as I can, especially because I know obviously fourth year is obviously the busiest. We got practicum first semester, we have internship second semester. Everyone's trying to catch up on whether it's open credits or electives, whatever it may be. So I'm gonna try to do as much as I can, but not try to overwork myself at the same time. But for sure, I'll be doing both of those shows. Yeah.
I can guarantee you we will all overwork ourselves. It's inevitable. At this point.
That's sport media in a nutshell. Yeah.
Literally.
Hey, one more year of education.
Education, then we get
If
to
you
do it
choose.
professionally. We get to overwork ourselves professionally. It's going to be great. But let's talk before we get into your YouTube channel, because I do have a lot of questions. You speak 4 languages.
Yeah.
How do you not
I do.
publicize this more?
I don't know. I kind of do. It's kind of, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't really come up because I don't know. The languages I speak aren't very common languages to speak in Canada, other than French and English. Like,
well, I'd say Russian.
What are the other two?
Russian and
and
Romanian. Yeah.
Okay.
Because back where I came from, basically the official languages are both Russian and Romanian. So I kind of learned them both. Like I'm a little bit better on my Russian than I am with my Romanian, but I understand everything Romanian. I just kind of basically have trouble responding sometimes.
Okay. That's a big advantage, I think, to have, like being, what is that, quadrilingual?
Yeah.
Quadrilingual?
Yeah. Well,
like, especially being in sport media, like, if you want to go to, like, Europe
another country,
or even for French, like, if you want to go to Montreal and cover, like, I don't know, Montreal Impact or the Canadiens. I know you're a Canadiens fan.
Okay,
like,
you did not just call them the Impact. They've had a different name.
Is it FC?
They changed the name. They changed the name.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
No. Listen.
I'm making a rule on this podcast. We call them the Foot, and that's it.
The
Foot.
Wait, what's their name right now? Is it just FC?
CF
Club
Montreal.
Foot de Montreal.
Yeah.
Oh, Club de Foot de Montreal. Okay.
It's so stupid. It's unbelievably stupid. And we won't even get into it.
Yeah, anyways, just saying
you put me off a tangent. Languages.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider going to a different country, speaking 100%, one of those languages, to
100%.
Be like a host or something?
Yeah, I want to learn Italian like desperately, and I want to potentially, if I could work like anything related to my favorite club, obviously that would be a dream. I took Spanish in first year. I'm not in the sense of like traditionally learning a language, like sitting down, grammar, all that stuff. I'm not good at it. Even in high school when I was taking French, like I struggled. When it came to writing, that was where I struggled. But then I would get like 100+. Like if you get bonus marks in oral stuff, like that's when I was killing it, right? Because I can speak, but in terms of being completely grammatically correct in all those languages, it gets confusing. Like I've gotten to, because my mom speaks 7 languages, right? My mom used to be a translator. Now she's just a teacher, but she used to be a translator. So with her, like I noticed, because I have it sometimes too, that I'll be speaking one language and then I won't realize that like maybe one word in the different language would be similar. So then I'll switch that language, not thinking about it. Like I'll be speaking in Russian and I'll automatically just say something in English, like a full sentence. And my grandparents are only speaking Russian and Romanian, right? So then I'm speaking to them and they don't understand what the heck I'm talking about because they're like, what's this guy saying in English?
You're right, actually. I've noticed that with people too. If they're starting to speak another language and then they just switch like 1 or 2 words and go in English. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's a really good advantage that you have for sure. And I understand that French thing because I took French from grades 1 to grade 12 and I can speak it like pretty well. I don't know about anymore because I haven't heard myself talk in French in like 4 years because I haven't had to speak it. but the conjugation stuff, oh boy,
It's so much.
I
It's
was
so
terrible.
much.
Like,
All the different tenses, like I always get confused. That's why. But
yeah,
I'll know if I'm talking. I know I'll be able to get by. Basically, like if you were to throw me to either France or Quebec for a month, like I'll survive. You know what I mean?
that's right. Yeah.
So,
Oh, for sure. I think I would too. Yeah.
You could survive in Quebec no matter what, as long as you don't go to the northern parts, because everywhere else speaks English,
yeah.
based on experience. But okay. I have the Hootsuite certifications. We really don't
Okay.
need to bring those up. Everybody takes a
Nope.
social media class because it's great.
Shout out Hamza Khan.
Shout out
Shout
Hamza.
out to
Yeah.
the king.
Yeah, what a legend. Your YouTube channel.
I'm terrified right now.
Maybe I should open it because just
You
to
should.
take a look.
I'm
at
opening it
this.
now so I can get the actual names. So it's
Okay.
Milan Stancu
Sancho, yeah.
on YouTube. You joined 17th of November 2012.
Okay, so that's not the first one. Thank goodness. What we won't even talk about what else is on YouTube, but yeah, that's one of the channels. Yes.
It has a lot of views.
Does
I
it?
don't really understand why. The first
Which-
one is a judo session. First Daniel.
Okay.
Then part 2, first Daniel. Then we
Okay.
get into
Oh, now I
Christmas
know what's here.
commercials.
Oh, I see. Yes.
2004.
Yes.
What?
Wait, can I watch this?
Yeah, go on. I mean,
Bloopers.
it's a funny story.
So wait, you were in a commercial? Is that you?
Yeah, that's me as a 4-year-old kid.
Oh my god.
Just before I came to Canada, yeah.
And
Oh,
the
wow.
bloopers are up there too if you want to watch the bloopers.
Dude,
yeah.
you're famous.
damn it.
Like, you can
I
use
guess
this
in
on your
Eastern
demo
Europe-
reel.
I guess in Eastern Europe.
What's the story behind it?
It's funny. So basically, Moldova 1 is kind of basically like, I don't know what I even relate. It's like Channel 1 basically. Well, Channel 1 would be like anywhere else in the world, right? So
Mhm.
before they play the commercials, like during a movie, like during Christmas time, they play like a little like Happy New Year commercial from the channel, and that would be that. Like, you know how there's like each like 15, 20-second intervals, like different types of those that like they would basically transition into commercials or the movie, back to the movie, back to the show. I don't remember how I got it. My mom was she has a lot of great friends down in Moldova. Like she has got some famous singer friends, all that kind of stuff. So we somehow, some way, she got me that gig, I guess, as a 4-year-old. And yeah, they still show that to this day in that country.
To this day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that ad has not changed in 17 years.
Holy.
So what made you want to upload it to YouTube 10 years later?
I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
That's
It's good.
a really good story.
Yeah.
I'm glad I found that. That's unreal.
I had no idea you would find this, but that's funny.
It was like one of the first things that came up. Interesting.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we'll have it linked below, obviously. Clearly there are other YouTube channels that you're much more worried that we would find.
Yep.
Is there a specific reason for that?
I just don't want it out there. You know what I mean? Like I just don't
Private.
need this. Yeah,
Delete
I
it.
need to do that. You know what it is? I haven't logged in. I don't even know if I know the login to that YouTube channel. That's the problem.
Oh, okay.
What's
like
the YouTube
No,
channel?
no. That's not going. No chance. No chance.
What's the content at least?
Like how do I, like there's some content that I know for sure is there. I had some of my old judo fights when I was like 12. Those are pretty cool. I remember on YouTube you'd be able to basically edit on YouTube and choose like YouTube like approved music. And I remember I put Drowning, but like that song was like let the bodies hit the floor, and that was just perfect for what judo is. So I was like, that's ideal. And yeah, I had my grandpa record that. I remember on my little iPod 4. But other than that, no, it's more so like, yeah, like old pictures. Like that's what I don't want out there. So I got to figure out a way that I can get that channel like removed entirely and erased off the face of the earth.
Just gotta like report it. You gotta find it and
I
just
just
be
gotta
like,
keep
hey,
reporting it, like from
yeah.
I'll make like 50 YouTube channels and keep reporting it until it just disappears forever.
Here, you should tell us what it is, so then we can help you out with that.
Oh
We
yeah,
can,
yeah.
we can.
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay.
You could
I
Google
appreciate the
the
thought.
Google the channel right now because we can't see that obviously,
Yeah,
and you can tell us what content's on there.
yeah.
Wait, yeah.
And we'll zoom in really close on your eyeballs to get the.
It's like
This
a
is
really
great
fast
content,
zoom
though.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, this is great content.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
Did you
So
find
that
it?
commercial, yes. So that commercial, I I as a 12-year-old kid did not understand that you could just upload a video onto YouTube. I thought you had to record it with your iPod. So I recorded my screen in like the most like potato camera. And I uploaded that video. And I put the wrong year. I put 2005 instead of 2004. Oh yeah. Yeah, and then there's just some judo content. But I'm more yeah, it's the playlists that are concerning. Yeah, that's what I don't need out there. The little like FIFA
Ah.
14 compilations that I don't need people to see of me watching like little squad builders while I'm playing video games. Yeah, I don't need that out there. I'll get that removed sooner or later.
I think it should be out there because I think
You
everybody.
gotta keep it up. Yeah, for sure.
Hard pass. But I'll get those judo videos down. I'll re-upload them on the channel on the main.
There you go. There
On
you
the
go.
main
We'll
channel. All right, sweet.
revive the Monstanchu YouTube channel.
YouTube.
And one of yours is apparently a shorts.
What's that?
Interesting. On YouTube, your second judo fight is a shorts, according to.
Is it?
No. Oh, is it?
I mean, that must have happened on its own. I had no control over that.
Yeah, because
you-
that was like recent.
Would you possibly be subscribed to your other YouTube channel?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Think so.
And there's too many subscriptions to go through it. So unless you got time, which I hope you don't.
I was
There's
going to
no
say
point in
I
doing
have
it.
time. We'll do that potentially.
Oh, Dose of Fusi. I like that.
I used to
Fusi
grind his
fan.
videos back in the day. That was my guy back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, if you really want to find his old YouTube channel, you can go to Monstanchu.
Oh no, I think I found it, Milan.
No way.
Yes.
wait. No,
No.
this isn't it. No, this isn't it.
The panic that overtook you.
Did you see the facial expression I just had when you said that?
I didn't see it. I'm looking on YouTube, so I'm not even on the call. But I found one
No,
with 2
please.
subscribers, and I thought that was it. It's not there.
No, it can't be that. It can't be that.
It's called
Are you
Milan
actually following or
Milan
something?
Plays.
Oh yeah, that was during that pandemic. I got so bored that I was considering doing a gaming channel, and then I gave up on it after a week. But I still might do that. I might do a little bit of like FIFA career mode stuff.
You should
So we'll
definitely.
see
Cool.
what
Yeah, you
happens
should do
there.
it. That stuff can get an audience for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
On. Is that it? No. What is some of
All
these?
right.
Nah,
I think we
there's-
should be
there's no
respectful
use.
now, and
There's
there's no use, Connor.
There's no use. Let's finish it with the question we always like to ask, because it's the best question after our first question, because they don't squirm as much. But what are your 3 to 5 pieces of advice for somebody looking to get into? Man, I've botched this question. What are your 3 to 5 pieces of advice for someone trying to get into sport media or into the program?
That's a great question. That's a fantastic question, and I mean, I'm assuming you asked that to everyone, but that's a fantastic question.
Thank you.
Number one, do literally everything you can do. Like when I say you shouldn't sleep, like that's how much you have to dedicate yourself to this program. Like if you're not active, like they told us this in the what's his name? Like the first day in first year, like before like orientation. Yeah, they told us in orientation, like if you're not doing anything in this program, if you're just here to like get by and then get the grades, you're not going to succeed. You have to do like when I say the most, like you have to do the most. Like you have to get yourself out there, do everything you can, try your hand at everything, because if you don't, you'll never you never get better if you don't try, right? Obviously. So if you don't try because there's so many different, we talked about earlier, there's so many different aspects of sport media. In first year, we go through like a Photoshop class, we do a audio class, we do production, like TV lab pretty much. What else do we do? Like obviously there's other like lecture classes that we learn a lot in. I remember the most memorable for me is Curtis Maloney's class in first year. That was a great class. Yeah, you just like number one, I'd say be as active as you can, do everything you can. Number two, I find this like is kind of a little bit more recent because I don't think I really had this option coming in from high school, but social media is like anyone's best friend. Like if you're on TikTok like promoting sports, that's like the growth you have on those apps like TikTok, like I don't know what the algorithm is, how they get everything that you're interested in onto your For You page or whatever it is, like you will
I think
blow
Connor
up.
found something.
I think I might have
Uh-oh.
found it.
Oh no.
It has my first judo tournament and two scary games.
No, that's my friend's channel.
One,
That's
two.
my friend's
That's
channel.
your
That's not me.
friend?
That's not me. That's not
Jeez.
me.
We got to move on. We got to move on.
Yeah. I'm still scrolling through this. I'm gonna find it. I'm going to find it.
He's giving some good advice here.
Yes,
So we should
keep
go
giving
on.
your advice.
Yeah, I'd say number two, social media. That's something very big that you should be pushing towards, especially with TikTok. That's the biggest platform. TikTok, I mean, Instagram, Twitter, those are huge platforms you can grow on. Obviously, YouTube. We know it's a little harder on YouTube because, it's a lot of sitting down and watching. And if you start without, advertisements, obviously you're not going to really get anything out of it, like in terms of anyone trying to sponsor you, anything of that sort. What else? That's number two. Number three, I'd say, like, don't. Oh, the most important thing I'd say is don't dwell on a grade or like a number, like whatever you get in terms of a grade to like diminish how you're doing in the program. Like, there was some classes that I was doing horrible in. I'm gonna be honest, throughout sport media, and I
Would
remember
production
in
theory be one of those?
which one? Production theory. Oh, of
Production
course,
theory?
of course,
Yeah.
of course. One of the worst
Yeah.
ever.
They
Um,
screwed us with that class.
I
but-
can't
Oh,
forget when it was like a blizzard, like
Yeah.
it was impossible to walk out there, and then I forget what the prof's name is. He made us come out still, and then he got mad when a bunch of people didn't. But whatever, that's besides the point. I remember I was panicking in which class? I guess it was digital media's lab because I don't know what it was. It was one of just those existential crises in first year, first semester before rating week, and I was like, I can't do this. This is so difficult. Now I'm looking back at this and I'm laughing. Like if I can redo those classes, like I'll literally get 100 easy. It's not even close, right? Like so, don't let like a grade that you'll get from a single assignment or anything like define you or break you down. Like I know it's a lot easier said than done, obviously. But if you just start dwelling on that, and we talked about it with the views, right? If you start dwelling on it, you're going down a downward spiral where you're not going to figure out what you're good at and what you want to improve at and what you can improve at, right? So I'd say those three things I'd probably say are the most important things if you want to have a successful time in sport media or the program.
For sure.
All right.
That's really
Good
good.
advice. Good advice. It's interesting hearing every single person's different advice to what they suggest, and
I'd say
I
that
think
first
also-
one is kind of pretty common, though, no?
you'd be surprised at what some people say. Like people obviously say do extra stuff, but at the same time, I think it's important to point out, especially recently with like stuff I've been going through mentally, it's like don't push yourself over the edge.
Yeah,
Don't
100%.
do that. Like if you're struggling mentally, get help.
100%.
Yeah.
This industry can be taxing, and you need to put yourself over that industry if you are struggling. And while we say yes, do extra stuff, take your schoolwork very seriously as well, because you do need to pass, and employers will in the future most likely look at your grades. So if you're very struggling, but you're doing a ton of other stuff outside of it, it may not be as beneficial. So it's about finding that balance and figuring out that balance of how do you manage everything in your life, because I think that's a big thing of what this industry requires you to do, is balancing everything. You need to know at points when you should take a step back, to try to mentally recover, do all that fun stuff.
That's a
But
very underrated skill, not even just in this industry, but in all. But like knowing when to say no, you know what I mean? Because then if you overwork yourself, you're just digging yourself into a hole that you can't get out of at that point. And I
yeah,
remember in first year, Ryan Sykes, shout out Ryan Sykes, he told us like probably the most important thing about this program is this isn't a 9 to 5 job that you're like going into. This is something that you literally have to dedicate yourself to at different times, whether like yeah, you need some breaks because you need to recharge, but like this isn't something that you just work a shift, work 40 hours a
Yeah.
week or whatever, and you're done. Like this is something you're working towards like constantly, even in your sleep. Like that's part of working because you're resting, or whether it's you know. I think of Jelani because that guy does everything. I think he does graphics, he does Northside Talks posts, he does podcasting, social media, like all these different things. Like make the most important thing about sport media, at least for us, because I mean, also I guess I'll speak for the three of us here. Like we all love sports, right? So like talking about it and like producing media, it's fun. So if you're not having fun, then you shouldn't be doing it. So as long as you're enjoying what you're doing and as long as you're not making it a job, but more so something you're interested in, then you're gonna be great.
it's also like,
That's fact.
yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to always be creating content. It's consuming it as well, because
Yeah.
like I'm on Twitter almost all day, every day.
Same.
Consuming, yeah, it's not healthy. But I'm on Twitter, Instagram all day, every day, trying to consume as much news as possible so that I'm as prepared as I can be for shows like this. And it's that extra prep work that people don't think of doing, and sort of think maybe this isn't like what I should be doing content wise. I should be constantly creating. But if you don't know what you're talking about, you can't create.
I was not prepared for this research that because you guys said you were going to share a doc with me. I was like, perfect. I'll have some notes to see what more or less we'll be talking about. There's nothing here. There's a little
We
bit of
don't
sports
share
stuff
the
that we'll talk
interview
about later.
ones.
But you guys don't
No,
talk
we
about
don't share the
anything that I
interview
was
notes
supposed to
because we
prepare
like
myself
people to
for.
be surprised.
And
We
when
like
I heard YouTube channel, that's when I was shaking in my boots. I was
Yeah.
nervous.
Yeah, no, we don't share the interview questions, but we
No, but
share
it's
like
better
the
that
sports
way.
stuff.
It's more
Yeah.
raw and authentic, so it's better that way.
Yeah, which
Exactly.
is what we try to keep this.
Yeah.
Despite people maybe not liking it that much, because
A little bit
But-
of nerves here and there.
yeah, trust us. No matter what happens, like we can cut stuff. Period.
Ah.
I know this isn't for you, but like we've done it in the past where we've talked about something and someone said to us, maybe we shouldn't include that. And there's no issue with that.
Yeah.
Part of doing this, we like this just to be a conversation of us talking, hanging out, while learning a bit about you. So the next part of this show is a lot more casual and usually a lot more heated. Because
Yeah.
I do have to add something to this, and Aiden's not going to like me for it, but here we go. He's
Uh-oh.
What are you adding?
He's typing.
It's gonna be something soccer related. Oh
No.
boy,
Yes.
Leafs.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah. I knew.
Wait,
you were
what
gonna
is
say.
it? A all or nothing series?
yes, it's the all or
All
nothing.
or
That's
nothing.
a curse. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm worried for your Toronto Maple Leafs.
It's
It was last
it's-
season. It's coming
Yo,
out. They announced the date. It's coming
spoiler.
No.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. It's nothing. It's not all. It's nothing.
Did you watch the trailer? Okay, kick him off the podcast.
That's
Kick
a
him off-
pretty bad logo. Look at that logo.
Yeah. What happened in the first round?
Oh God, you
Yeah,
brained
I don't
one
know,
of our
man.
best players, which really hurt us. But
Okay, but
that
you
was
guys-
an accident. We're not
That
talking
was
about
it was a
the
freak
edge.
accident, but like
Yes.
at the same time, there is no excuse to lose to us. We stink. We shouldn't have made
Well-
the playoffs. We shouldn't have made the playoffs. That's the truth. If this was
I agree.
a real season where we didn't have, the Canadian division where we had, just the top 6 basically pretty much making it out, there was no chance we're making the playoffs with the record that we had. We
Oh, for
made
sure.
it
You wouldn't
purely
have.
based off that. You guys, and it's not. Listen, it is what it is. I thought you guys had a complete cakewalk to at least the conference finals at this point because you guys are playing only Canadian teams. You guys are head and shoulders above these Canadian teams. Even without Tavares, I mean, you got Matthews, you got Marner, You got so much talent on that team. You got veterans. You got like it seemed perfect, but it was too good to be true. It's the history of the Toronto Maple Leafs choking in the first round. As a Habs fan, I love to see it. Seeing my Habs and my Toronto Maple Leafs friends suffer through it, I feel bad. But as a Habs fan, I love to see the Leafs lose.
Yeah.
It wasn't pleasurable, we'll put it that way. But I think we'll get into the docuseries afterwards because they are making improvements. And there were two major ones that were made. Again, this is going to be a battle between it and I, Milan, so just be prepared for that. Andre Kasha and Nick Ritchie signed contracts with the Leafs. Nick Ritchie, 2 years, 2.25, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Andre Kasha, 1 year, 1.25. Aiden, we'll start with you because you're a Leafs fan and Milan isn't. What are your thoughts on the contracts?
I mean, I don't mind, like, okay, let's start with Kasha, I guess. I think it's a good contract for someone like him because there's not really much risk to it. It's a 1-year deal. He's basically making $1 million, and he's a guy who can score maybe 20 goals if he stays healthy, playing in our top 6. So I like it. Nothing too flashy. Dubas, had to find someone in the top 6 to score some goals, especially when Zach Hyman's not there anymore. You got to replace him somehow.
Top 6. He's definitely not playing above Marner or Nylander. I can guarantee you that.
I mean, on the left side, Kasha.
He's a right winger.
I could see him on the left, though, because that left side is very, very thin right now. And I don't know if they want to use... I don't think Kasha is going to be good on the third line because you're going to play him with, Kerfoot and Mikheyev. I don't see that line being productive offensively. I think you want to get the most out of your top 6 by putting Kasha in the top 6.
Here's where you're wrong is I think Kerfoot's second line left winger.
Right. I remember you saying that. But then the third line's even worse. Like, who's on the third line? You got David Kampf, Mikheyev, and Kasha. Like, there's zero offense there.
Or what they could also do is they could put Nylander on the left. They've thought about doing that in the past. They've tried that in the past. Could make some sense. But
here's what I'll say. I'll just say, for Nick Ritchie as well, I think that the contract is a little bit pricey as well. I would have liked them to get him for under $2 million. But from what I've taken from the Bunting signing, the Ritchie signing, the Kasha signing, it's just filler players that Dubas has brought into the team because they have no money. So Dubas just had to fill guys in to the roster. And I don't know if they're the right players that we need to help us win. And he just put himself in a pickle because all the money's tied up into our core 4 and into Riley and to Muzzin now. There's not much he could do about it. So he just had to go out and get these filler players. And I don't think it's going to work out.
Before I give my opinion, Milan, what did you think about the signings? As someone who religiously watches hockey.
Oh yeah, I'm the biggest hockey fan, especially the Toronto Maple Leafs. I follow them more than anyone. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know much, but I mean, none of this, in my opinion, I guess they're cheap signings and all, but does this really matter if nothing really happens in the playoffs? The regular season, yeah, but if you guys don't get out of the first round, none of this really matters, and you have all the talent to do it, right? So that's all that really matters. Yeah, these are great signings for cheap deals, but what matters is we need Matthews to show up, we need Marner to show up, we need Nylander to show up, Tavares. We need all these, players that are getting the big bucks and deservedly so because they're doing great things in the regular season, but folding when it comes to the playoffs. So I hope this is your year. I hope at least a second round or a third round. I pray for y'all, but I don't know. Does this as a guy that doesn't really follow the Leafs that much, does this really change your team that much? These signings, these 2 signings?
It's not improvements.
Exactly.
If you look at the last year's roster, it's
kind of the same thing, right? It's kind of stagnant in that sense. It's just, can you finally get over the playoff hump?
I will disagree with that because I think there is more depth with this team. There's more quality depth that can play higher in the lineup potentially. And I think Kasha, Ritchie, Mikheyev, Kerfoot, I think Dennis Malgin could potentially play higher in the lineup. I think Joey Anderson could play higher in the lineup as Milan's eyes glaze over.
Right. I think I agree with Milan here. Like it just rides or dies with the core though. Like that's what Dubas is putting all of his hope in, that the core four just get it done and win him a series, because all the guys that you're mentioning right now, Connor, they're not going to help out that much. Like Mulligan, Joey Anderson, like they're just guys, they're not going to win you a series. It's all on the big four now, and I don't know if they have it in them to do it. And
really,
I don't. Well,
he's very low.
I say this now, like it's not how you build the team. Like we can really get into
you just get a bunch of stars, eh?
Probably not. No, well,
that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing, pretty much.
It's not so much the stars. It's like I like Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander. I think they can do it. I think they can do it, but they can't do it alone. And right now, because they're getting paid so much money, you can't afford to get exactly. You can't get depth guys. So they're in a pickle. They're in a big pickle here because they can't sign depth players.
I have a question for the both of you then. Hypothetically, you guys lose in the first round this year. Hypothetically. And you have to trade away one of those players, one of those four.
This is the easiest question you've ever asked.
Okay. Well, I mean, who do you want out?
He starts with Mitch and his last name.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Is he, in terms of NHL standards, is he a bit overpaid?
Yes.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's very overpaid.
In terms of NHL standards, I would think so, right? Yeah.
He's about I think, based on advanced stats and stuff.
It's just crazy. Like, I look at these NHL contracts, like they're for me, I believe they're extremely. Like, obviously, viewership is a little lower than the other leagues, but I believe they're extremely underpaid. Like a $2 million contract for a year, that's like nothing. Like it's like in the NBA, that would be one of the smallest contracts in league history in the last 10 years of the league. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I feel like they're extremely underpaid in the NHL. I hopefully with this ESPN deal, they'll get a little bit more in the salary cap. Players will get a little bit more money, but I believe they're extremely underpaid when I look at the deals that I see. And some of the superstars, they don't get enough.
Yeah, in reference to other sports, definitely. In hockey terms, though, like based on what the current cap landscape is, Marner's about $1 million and a half to $1 million overpaid per year. So that's quite a lot when you consider that could be another Nick Ritchie.
Yeah, exactly.
So who do you guys would you guys bring in for Marner? Like who do you think is like the piece in the puzzle if you take away Marner and you put in?
I'm kidding.
I know who that is. That's the crazy thing. I mean, obviously I know who that is.
Who did you say?
Jack
Eichel.
Jack Eichel. Oh, okay. I still no. It's a collective effort. Like even if you just bring in Jack Eichel to replace Marner, like there's no guarantee you're making it out of the first round. Like it's the collective effort. Like you look at Tampa Bay and the way that their team is constructed, like 1 through 9, their top 9 is just lethal.
Well, they did just lose their entire second line.
Well, now they did, but I mean, not looking at the current Tampa Bay Lightning, but the team that won back-to-back Stanley Cups.
There aren't many teams that can do that, though. I think that's like you got to find those value guys, and Dubas, because of the Hunter drafts and the abhorrent contracts that he was stuck with from Lou in Zaitsev and Marleau and all those things, couldn't fully do what he wanted until this year. And he did. They still failed in the first round. Acceptable, but he started to restock the draft pool. And I think we have a lot of quality pieces coming, whether it be Robertson, Sandin, Liljegren, this new Neves
Amirov.
guy, Amirov. They've got some good pieces coming. But I think if they go out in the first round, this might shock you, Milan. I think Dubas might get canned.
I mean, I'm not shocked, to be honest. I think Dubas is doing a great job in terms of getting a lot of superstars to Toronto from what I've seen. But like, yeah, it's the same story every year. Like it really is. But one question I kind of had for you guys, like the both of you, it's a little bit off topic, but how confident are you guys that like Austin Matthews will re-sign with you guys and not end up in Arizona or somewhere else by the time his
Very,
contract ends? Very
very.
confident that he will stay, or very confident that he'll go to Arizona?
He'll stay. Like,
Oh yeah,
yes, Arizona's great, but
clip this, everyone.
yeah, yes,
I'd like
Arizona's
to
great.
think that he will stay. Yes, I don't
He
think
could
that's any
make
bias. I think he'll
no,
stay.
he can make so much more money here. It's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like the endorsement deals that he could get.
But then we look at, for example, Kawhi. Kawhi literally had a whole country
Why was
worshiping him in the in the
unique?
NBA, and
that
he was
was
like, "Nah,
1 year.
I want to go home. I want to go home."
You're right.
That
That
was
was a
unique.
1 year though of
Yeah,
Kawhi staying
that's
and being
true.
in Toronto. Matthews was drafted here. He's been a part of this team for 5+ years.
It's true.
Like his relationship with like Justin Bieber now, like
Yeah.
the Nelk
They're like best
boys.
friends, aren't they?
Yeah, like
Weird.
I don't know. Like
It's weird.
if Arizona offers him the money and it's like a ridiculous contract, like yeah, maybe, but I think he'll stay.
I think it's too much possibility come post career, and he's so beloved here that it would be hard for him to go to Arizona, where, let's be real, they suck.
Yeah.
And they're going to suck for a very long time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
who knows? We'll see.
I mean,
Let's
at the
talk
end of the day,
Sorry?
he's in a sorry, just to interrupt you, but he's in a perfect position, right? Because like, as far as like I know, like Toronto would be like the New York Knicks of the NHL. Like they're the big market, they're the biggest market you can be in. They're like the team of the league. Like the most news is around them. The media is always surrounding them. A little bit toxic sometimes, but it is what it is. Like
They're like, here's what I'll put it in NFL terms. And I know like Stephen A. Smith, he said that they're the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL.
Leafs?
The Leafs. I disagree with that because at least the Cowboys can like win a playoff round in recent memory. But they're a combination of the Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions. You know, they have the fan base, but they just suck.
Yeah.
That's the combination there. And as a Lions fan, I can say that with pride. Yeah.
I see what you did there with Lions and Pride.
Yeah, one pride.
Let's talk the Leafs docu-series, speaking of Kyle Dubas, because they released the trailer this morning. I don't, from the sounds of it, think either of you have seen it.
I've seen it.
You have seen it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
You mean just that like one clip of Dubas talking? Is that what you're referring to?
There were two
There's
clips.
two clips.
Yes.
Right. He's just like, my patience is running thin. But like that's so out of context. Like what's he saying? I think he's just saying that because like in that scene, I'm like analyzing this like it's like a Marvel trailer. Like in that scene, they're in like the war room, right? Or like the trade room, I guess. It's like trade deadline day. And he's saying my patience is running thin. He's probably talking about like another team and like they're trying to work together a trade and this guy's not getting back to him or something like that. And they're running out of time at the deadline. I think the trailer made it seem like he's talking about the core and them losing. Like his patience is running thin on the core.
But then he
that's
would
not
get
the case.
fired. Well, why would he ever?
Yeah,
that's only the most fireable
exactly.
thing you could ever say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
If you just go,
So what do you think it
I
was?
can't handle these guys. Like, why would the Leafs want you to be there? You know what I mean?
I think he's saying my patience is running thin because this team is good enough and should win.
I don't know.
No,
Do you
I
actually think that though,
makes more
Connor?
sense.
I don't know if
It's the trailer. They made it seem like
I
that,
know.
but it's not.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
think in that situation is exactly what he said, but I'm fairly certain it's probably what he thinks and what he currently feels.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I agree with that, I guess, yeah.
In that context, it was probably something in the season, like a suspension or something along those lines. Speaking of, by the way, I don't know if this is actually out there. I might be breaking something. But Tavares, if it hadn't been for the knee issue, would have played like first game, second round. It wasn't the concussion a problem.
Uh-huh.
It was the knee thing that was holding them back.
Yeah.
But back to the docu-series. It's 5 episodes, released October 1. What are you expecting?
Something like the Leaf Blueprint. I don't know if you've seen any of those episodes, but I mean, just an inside look at the Leafs locker room and what goes into pregame preparations, and the reactions post game, interviews with coaches, players at practices, stuff like that. From the trailer, it looks like they go on like trips and stuff, or like they play like golf or something like that, and they take the camera crew with them. So, I mean, it's not going to be anything spectacular because they didn't do anything spectacular. Like the documentary series would have thrived if they made it past the first round, and there's your storyline there. But they even say in the trailer, like, and we lose again, right? In the trailer, it says like, and they lose again. Like, that's a terrible storyline. Like, I'm sorry for Amazon. Like, Amazon was hoping that this would be the year that the Leafs actually win a playoff series. You bring in Thornton, you bring in Simmons, you bring in all these guys to help win. And, you're hoping, this documentary is going to be a success. Maybe they win the cup and this thing's going to blow up. No, you lose in the first round again. So I don't know how they're going to even sell this documentary. Like, there's going to be so much buildup, right? There's going to be so much buildup at the start of this, like 4 episodes, and then 5 episodes. It's going to be like Infinity War. It's just like a terrible ending to end it off.
No, but that's the thing. I think, at least in terms of all the other All or Nothing series I've seen, like, the story of all, like, it's just a curse at this point. Like, every team that gets an All or Nothing series just flops in the end. Like, Juventus, I believe, got it for this year. That was their worst season in the last 10 years. Tottenham got it believe for last season. They finished outside the top 5. Exactly. But like, they just keep, like, Jeff Bezos must be pissed because this guy just, every time they invest into a team to hope for the best, they're finally gonna get a good documentary. It just becomes memes afterwards because it's always the team that's losing, and everyone's just using clips from that as a meme on Twitter.
Yeah.
What do you guys expect the episode breakdown to look like?
Episode 1 is probably like training camp. Episode 2 is like maybe the first quarter of the season. Episode 3 is leading up to the trade deadline. Episode 4 is after the trade deadline, and episode 5 is playoffs and like the postseason stuff.
Milan?
I have no idea, so I'm gonna agree with Aiden. I have no clue.
I think the breakdown's a little bit different than that.
Okay.
I think episode 1, you're right, is training camp, leading up to the first game of the season. I think episode 2 is the first up until the trade deadline. I think episode 3 starts with the trade deadline, leads into the end of the season. I think episode 4 is the playoffs. I think episode 5 will be post playoffs.
That'd be cool to see. I want more current stuff. Yeah.
I think they'll try to capitalize on that, even though it's coming out in 2 months. But
like right at the start of the season next year, it's going to come out.
Yeah, about 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
Season starts the 13th.
Yeah.
But again, we'll see. What I would love to see, and I think it would be really, really interesting to see how everything works behind the scenes, would be a Raptors version of this for this season, because it was a tumultuous season, to say the least.
Yeah.
That's probably putting it kindly, with COVID and playing in Florida. And the Lowry situation and Siakam butting heads with coaching staff and all of that stuff. I think that would have been incredibly interesting. And it would have been incredibly interesting to hear the rationale going on in the Raptors war room leading up to the draft, because we spoke about it a bit with Jack. But the Raptors did what was
not expected.
Unexpected, but at the same time sort of expected.
Really? You think so?
They went off board. They went with the tall, lanky, very good defender. It fits Siakam and it fits OG, who have been like their last 4 drafts. Why do you think they went with Scotty Barnes over Jalen Suggs? I will ask Milan this question because Aiden, you have no answer.
So
Probably
it's
not.
interesting because at least in the first summer league game I've seen, Scotty Barnes gives me a lot of semblance of like a very, very young Kawhi Leonard. And I think that's exactly what they're trying to emulate here with all these draft picks, that they want a player that they'll, because we know about Toronto's development, like in terms of young players, we see it all the time. We see it with OG, we saw it with Pascal, we saw it. I mean, Fred came in pretty young; he was a free agent, developed fantastically. Lowry became a great player when he came here. DeRozan, so on and so forth. I think what they're trying to do is kind of basically draft like a prototype Kawhi Leonard. The guy's got an unreal wingspan, huge hands. And he definitely has room to grow. And with a coach like Nick Nurse, who is so sound defensively, and if this guy's already a great defender as is, and they just start working on his offensive game, that's like in my mind, I don't want to be the one because if he ends up being a complete flop, I don't want this to be clipped and go, oh well, nice Kawhi Leonard part 2, right? But he's looking. If I were to give him like a direct comparison, is he's looking like a Kawhi Leonard type player. Why they didn't go for Jalen Suggs? I believe both picks would have been valid. Personally, I believe either one would have been a great pick. I would have preferred Suggs maybe just because now that we're losing Lowry and there's just no like scoring superstar, like offensive superstar that I'm like, that guy's gonna get the buckets for us today, right? Because there comes a point where Pascal Siakam's spin move is just not going to be enough. There comes a point where, Fred VanVleet can't put up 50 points every game. You know what I mean? So I would have preferred Suggs just purely because he's more of a scoring type of player. But I'm very happy with Scotty Barnes. He seems happy to be here. I mean, when he got drafted, he was dancing. As a Raptors fan, you don't see that very often. People don't want, like we saw it with Dragic. He doesn't want to be here, right? So
no.
I mean, and that's the story of us with older players or free agent. Like we can't attract anyone here. Like our best bet is to draft someone and hope for the best. We got lucky with Kawhi because he just wanted out no matter what, and he was only good for a year. And he promised. Well, he didn't really promise us, but he said to himself like, "I can't leave if I don't even do anything. So I'm gonna do my best to win a championship for these guys." And that's what we got. So, I mean, I'm happy with Scotty Barnes, but I want to see. I'm interested to see what position he's going to play this year because if he ends up playing the 4, I'm assuming they're going to trade Siakam. And what they get for Siakam is a whole different story. It's it's going to be an interesting Raptor season for sure.
I want to get into the Siakam talk in a second, but who do you think had the better upside? Because going into the draft, it sort of sounded like Jalen Suggs has a higher floor, but a lower ceiling than Barnes. So do you think that's why the Raptors went with Barnes? Because they think he has the higher ceiling and they can get that out of him?
I would assume so. I mean, I never doubt Masai Ujiri. That's one of the biggest masterminds in modern day NBA. That guy knows things that we don't know. The fact that he traded for Norman Powell in that one draft with Vasquez, that was a mastermind of a pick because Norman Powell became a fantastic player and was a key to our championships run.
Norm Powell and the pick that turned into OG and Nobi.
And wow, and we got OG from that. Wow, yeah. No, I'm assuming that's the case. I'm assuming they just expect Scotty to be better in the end. That's why they went for him. So I trust Masai. Obviously, he just re-signed for I believe 2 years on a pretty big deal with Toronto.
Is it 2 years? I didn't. It just
I
said
thought it was 2 or 3. One. It was a pretty lucrative deal. That's what I saw. But yeah, I trust him with everything. Whether he trades away Pascal or he keeps Pascal, like whatever he's planning, I'm 100% behind this guy. I know perhaps that's probably not the same case with Dubas, unfortunately. You don't really know what's happening, but yeah, with Masai, whatever he chooses, whatever he decides for this team, I'm 100% behind it.
Yeah.
I guess, Aiden, I assume you don't have any thoughts on
Scotty. I agree. I mean, I agree with that. Like Masai's done everything right so far, and you got to trust him. From what I'm getting from this conversation is Suggs is kind of like the player who's who's ready now. Like if you want to throw him into the lineup, he can put up points right away. And Scotty Barnes is that guy who has maybe more potential to be better than Suggs later on in his career. And he's maybe more of an all-around type player. He's not so much just a shooter, but he can do it all on the court. Is that kind of what he is? Yeah.
He's
So,
pretty two-way, I'd say. Yeah.
exactly, two-way. So I don't know. Maybe that is what the Raptors are looking for. But I think at some point, you're gonna have to go out and get a guy to get points. Like you're gonna need a guy like Suggs, and hopefully they find that soon, whether that be in the draft or free agency. But like you guys said, it's tough to lure those players to come to Toronto. So, I mean, depending on what happens next year, like do they try and compete again? Are they going to have another bad season? Do they want to get a higher draft pick next year as well and go out and get that guy who's going to put up a lot of points every night? We'll see. But I think they definitely will need to get that type of player moving forward if they want to get back to the playoffs in the first place and beyond that.
Deep runs afterwards, especially with the fact that we've got like the East probably have the two strongest teams in the league right now with the Bucks and the Nets, right? So to be able to compete with them, we've got to build up because right now we're lacking big time.
You didn't even include the Heat in that conversation. You just added a borderline all-star to their already insane lineup.
But then they got swept first round,
They added Kyle Lowry.
I think that's a good addition, but I don't think that changes much for them just because I think those two teams are just so much better than everyone else in the East.
Who'd they get swept by though? Wasn't it the Bucks?
The Bucks, yeah.
I think the Heat can be better.
Yeah, I think, and they also added PJ Tucker too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
great defender.
But Tyler Hero's still very young. Yeah, yep. Kyle Lowry.
Let's talk about the Kyle Lowry trade because that's been the big news over the last week, I guess, give or take a few days. But Kyle Lowry signs a 3-year, $85 million contract with the Miami Heat in a sign and trade where the Raptors receive Precious Achiuwa and Goran Dragic. Achiuwa being a first-round pick last season, Dragic being 35 in the last year of a $19.4 million contract, who says he doesn't want to play in Toronto and then says he's
higher ambitions.
Yeah. What do you think about this trade, ignoring the Dragic stuff? Do you think the Raptors got enough value in this sign and trade?
It's tough to say. I've maybe not based off last season, but I've always thought Dragic was an unbelievably underrated player. And I almost had him just underneath Lowry in terms of ability, in terms of what he brings to the team, especially in that run to the finals last year in the bubble. He was fantastic. And so many years before that, he's always been a baller. I love his game, right? I've always thought just Lowry is a lot more of a pit bull in the sense like he fights for everything. He doesn't stop, and he doesn't stop for injury, whatever it may be. He just does not, the gas pedal is always on, right? So if you look at it overall, I think Dragic for Lowry is a good deal. And then on top of it, adding a pretty good young player in Precious Achiuwa, I think we got enough. But it depends on if Dragic is going to end up playing for us, right? And at the same time, do we really want another point guard? Because we obviously, since we had 2 point guards, we were playing Fred at the 2. It worked out a little bit, but it's better off if we play Fred at the 1 now that Lowry's gone and we try to pick up a 2. I would listen if we could somehow lure Brad Beal. That would be the best day of my life because that dude. That's exactly what we need. We need a scorer, right? So I think it's fair. It's a fair deal, but it's very easy to understand why one would argue otherwise because especially now that Dragic doesn't want to be here, this guy's earning $19 million a year. Even for 1 year, that's a ton of money for a guy that potentially could not play for us because he doesn't want to. I think Precious Achiuwa is a great player. He seems to want to be here, so I'm happy with what we got for Lowry. And at the end of the day, it was a tough pill to swallow, but eventually his jersey is going to be retired in our rafters. So that's all that really matters for us.
Yeah, and I think with Achiuwa as well, he's a 6'9" center. So he's a smaller center, but he is a center, which is helpful when you're
6'9", small.
Yes, and well, For a center, yes. And the other Raptor center is Kem Birch, who just signed a 3-year, like what, 6-ish, somewhere between 6 and 7 million per. It's like a 6.6 blah, 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 number.
Yeah.
He's also 6'9" on the smaller side. So they have 2 small centers, but they do have 2 centers. Usable
Which
centers.
is something we didn't have last year with
An improvement over last season.
someone I do not want to name.
I feel bad for him right now because he's clearly not doing well.
Yeah.
With the whole nerve damage. But
yeah.
What do you expect the return to be for Dragic if he is moved?
I think they're going to try to package Dragic and Siakam together and try to see what they can get for that. That would be be an interesting pickup, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. Honestly, it doesn't seem he wants to be here either though, but I wouldn't mind seeing Ben Simmons on the Raptors. Yeah, he's not going to score and that's obviously what we need, but he's going to give us so much more of everything else that we can listen, you can find shooters in free agency at any point. You know what I mean? Everyone gets bought out every now and then. Like you can find some shooters at that point. I saw there was a rumor of Siakam for De'Aaron Fox. I would love that deal.
It's never gonna happen.
Yeah, but I would love that deal. Dragic, I don't know what team off the top of my head. I can't really think of a team that would be willing. Dallas that would be willing to pay $19 a year.
He's very close with Doncic.
Oh yeah, they are. They're from the same country. Yeah,
they're both from Slovenia, I think.
Yeah, they are.
And that's the team that's being heavily linked.
But what do we get from them for him? That's the problem.
The idea of the package is Dwight Powell, the center.
The center.
Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian, yeah.
Who's getting paid? He has 2 more years and 11 million per. 30
Not
years
a bad
old.
deal.
Not terrible, but with Achua and Birch, they're not really fit for him. He's not huge either. He's only like 6'10".
Yeah.
But that on top of either a prospect or like Willie Cauley-Stein or something along those lines to match salary a bit more. And then Raptors would potentially flip Powell to somebody else who needs a center. Charlotte, please call us. Please. We can help you. So that's sort of the idea behind the trade. It's just whether or not they can actually get that across the line and find a trade partner for Powell.
What I would love to see is, because the whole time, obviously, the story of our season was we don't really have a center because the center just doesn't cut the mustard right now. If we were able to, well, obviously now it's impossible with now that he signed a new contract, but Jared Allen would have been a perfect fit in Toronto, and I would have loved to see Jared Allen here. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting package. I don't think it's like terrible. I think it's at the end of the day we're getting a center, which we always need depth, and even if someone gets flipped, so be it. And if we get another prospect from that, so be it. I mean, Dragic clearly doesn't want to be here, and I'd rather trade him than sit him on the bench because this guy's earning way too much money for us not to work with. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see where he ends up going, whether he starts the season even as a Raptor or not.
Yeah, because it could easily be a deadline flip.
Yeah.
Where the Raptors keep him around for the first half of the season, be a bit of a mentor to someone like Malachi Flynn, who's had a great first game in the summer league. Maybe that's your score in the future and why they didn't go with Suggs. But I want to talk the Siakam thing because it's really been a big conversation recently. Before we do Westbrook, because that was a big story, and then talk a little Messi, because we do have to get out of here because Aiden has to work.
Yeah.
But Pascal Siakam has been in a lot of trade rumors. 3 teams, based on a recent report, that have interest in him. LA Clippers, never happening. Sacramento Kings, Golden State Warriors. We're going to ignore the Clippers altogether because there's absolutely
nothing they can give us
together that would be equivalent unless it involved Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think Paul George would cut at this point because he's terrible.
Really? That's harsh. He balled in the playoffs. He got in the conference finals. He was killing it.
It's a lot of money for a lot of years.
Yeah, fair. Fair.
Yeah.
But I think he's a great player still.
He's
I
a
wouldn't
good
say he
player.
sucks. Yeah.
He sucked in the bubble. He sucked in the bubble.
Isn't that an
no,
upgrade
that's playoff
over
P.
Siakam though? Like,
Oh, 100%. 100%. That's a bubble. That's an upgrade.
No way. Because
Look at how he's been playing ever
defend.
since Kawhi got injured. This guy's dropping 35 a game.
Yes, but Siakam can defend, right?
Yeah, but Siakam can't do anything offensively except a spin move.
He's not. He's a number 2 option on a championship team.
Yeah, I agree.
The issue is he's being tasked with being a number 1 option.
Yeah.
Which hopefully changes when they teach Scotty Barnes how to shoot. Back to Siakam.
Yeah.
I want you to make packages from the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors. I can do packages now if you want to pull up both the rosters.
I've got 2 off the top of my head. I got 1 for each off the top of my head.
Right.
So
you've been doing the trade machine with
a little bit.
Got it.
I've got Buddy Hield for Pascal Siakam, maybe a pick as well in that, whether it's from us or from them. I think Buddy Hield would be perfect.
That's nothing.
Yeah, but it's perfect. It's because Siakam is going to be on a terrible team, so he's going to look a lot worse. It's easy to look good on a bad team, but when you're a player like Siakam who flourishes with great players, obviously we saw him flourish with Kawhi because that's how he, stepped another level. That's how he got the most improved. That's how the next year he took the next step to being an all-star. I don't think we can get much more than that in terms of what we need, So I think Buddy Hield and maybe a pick or 2 for Pascal from Sacramento, that would be a decent deal. As for Golden State, I'm seeing James Wiseman, Andrew Wiggins, and a pick.
That's a bit more realistic. The Sacramento deal, they would add a lot more to that.
You think so?
We're talking at least Marvin Bagley too.
Oh, I don't want him though.
Potentially,
I don't want it.
It also for salary filler because he'll only make
even it out. Yeah.
20-ish. Siakam's getting paid like 33.
Yeah.
So you need another piece in there, and Bagley's sort of a natural fit. What I've seen Raptors fans on Twitter, which not very reliable, but they also want one of the young point guards, not Halliburton or Fox, their pick from last year.
What was his name again?
I can't remember.
I know who you're speaking of, but I don't know his name yet.
That's what I've heard people want. So we'll see whether or not that comes to fruition. Bobby Webster said recently, these are all rumors coming from the teams that want him. So clearly the Raptors aren't shopping him. But it's an interesting conversation to have. And reportedly the Raptors are very in on Simmons too. So who knows? Aiden, do you have any thoughts on Siakam? I feel like I should include you because you haven't talked for about 10 minutes.
I don't know. I think it might be time to trade him now, though, because I think his value is maybe not as high as you'd like it to be, but I think it is time to just move on from some of that core. And I'm not saying like you fully get rid of it. Like I still think like some guys will be like Van Fleet, for example, is a guy who should stay and be a part of like the new wave of Raptors. But I think Siakam is a guy that obviously didn't have a good year. He's missing a lot of tools to his game still. And like we said, like he just can't score. So I think you gotta find a replacement for that. I don't know where he's gonna go. I really don't know. But let's hope they get someone. Let's hope they get an upgrade back. I don't know if it's possible, but if they can get a 1-for-1 deal like Buddy Hield from the Kings, if he's an upgrade over Siakam, that would be nice.
You're a Buddy Hield hater.
Well, I think I'm higher on Pascal Siakam than you are.
Yeah, probably.
Probably goes into it. I don't
know because it didn't like Masai and Pascal Siakam. They have a really good relationship too, right? So it's gonna be tough to get rid of him.
But so did DeRozan. And supposedly he wasn't shopping him at that point either. And then we woke up one morning and Kawhi Leonard has been traded to the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah. So maybe you swing a deal like that and you get a player like Kawhi for Siakam.
Maybe. Did you guys hear, quickly before we do Westbrook, because that was a big trade.
Yeah.
Did you hear what DeRozan said in a recent podcast about the trade call?
Oh, yeah. That he
Oh
just got out of the
yeah.
car and just went on a walk and was kind of crying about it. He was
Uh-huh.
not happy.
No, what he said. Well, yes, that part too. But what he did, he was told, and he just hung up on Masai
Yeah.
because,
Hmm.
yeah, I'd love to see a reunion at some point with him. Maybe last year of both of their careers, Kyle and DeRozan come home and play together one more time. That would be unreal.
I don't know about that.
And they both expire in 3 years, actually, now that I think about it, after DeRozan's
Should be fun time.
$84 million contract with the Chicago Bulls.
It's a good deal though.
Yeah.
Yes, and he's going to be beside Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball and Nikola Vucevic. So we'll see how that works. But let's talk Westbrook, because that was a big trade. Probably going to screw the Lakers in 3 years, but it was a big trade. What did you think about the trade for the Lakers?
I don't think they gave up much for a guy that's, consistently averaging a triple double, which you don't see in modern day NBA. A guy that, yeah, he may not take the smartest shots, but he has no fear in shooting, which we see in the likes of Ben Simmons, right? Like his problem is he might not be great at shooting, but he keeps going until he finally gets those 40 points, those 50 points, Westbrook is not afraid and he's athletic, he's a great creator. He's fast, and that's exactly what they need. With an aging team like the Lakers, you need speed and you need, a good tempo to build on. So I think Westbrook is a perfect fit for the Lakers. I'm a big Westbrook fan. I've always been a big Westbrook fan. So I'm ecstatic for him to see him on a big team for the first time in a while. Last time I saw him with a great teammate, like on a competing team, would probably be OKC with Paul George. And when we thought Melo was going to be good and he wasn't.
Who's also now on the Lakers.
Yeah, also another Laker now. But I love this deal. I hope this team gets to the finals. I really want to see that finals that we all want to see. Obviously, the Nets Lakers, that would just be
So much star
fantastic,
power.
fantastic basketball. But
I think I just heard the NBA squeal a little bit.
yeah, the ratings are going through the roof.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah, I think it's a great deal. I think what was it, Kuzma, KCP, some maybe a pick or another player.
Yeah. Was Harrell involved in that? Maybe.
No, I'm not sure actually.
I can't remember.
Anyways, I don't think they gave up much for him. For a guy that's, an MVP, a consistent all-star, a consistent triple-double average, you know what I mean? Like leads the league in assists so many times, can score, he's physical, he's fast. I think it's a perfect fit, honestly.
Unless in an ideal contract, though. We do have to
Yeah.
admit that.
Yeah, of course.
How many more years are left on his deal?
Is
Ooh,
it 2? Is it 2 or 3?
Okay.
Let me look that up.
Well, and then how much is left on like LeBron's deal?
It might be another year. He signed a 4-year in 2018. Yeah,
So
another
if it's
year.
around the same, then like that's your window, like 2-3 years.
LeBron's health is more so the window not more than even his contract, right? Because LeBron, yeah, he's still great, but Father Time gets to you eventually, right? Like he got injured throughout the season and it affected the Lakers massively, and then AD got injured and first round exit, right? So that all depends on that, to be honest.
Yeah, he's got this year, next year, and UFA the year after that. And next year is Green, which I assume is a player option, which he's not passing on $47 million. That I can guarantee you that he's not doing that.
Because he's not worth it anymore. As great as he is, he's not worth that money.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a tough one. I think he sort of works on the Lakers, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm a little skeptical on how that all is going to work out. Let's talk another player on the move. A big player on the move. Some would say the biggest player on the move, who isn't actually the biggest because he's short. No offense to him. He's very good at soccer. Lionel Messi, the GOAT, as some might call him. I'm not getting in that debate with anybody. Left Barcelona because they've screwed up their salary cap somehow. 2 years with an optional third year with PSG, $41 million a year. What is there to say to this deal?
It's a cheat code. But it was
Yeah.
almost a cheat code no matter which team he signed with. You know what I mean? Like, he's that good.
Yeah.
He literally, and it's no disrespect to anyone, right? And I respect the both of Ronaldo and Messi, but we see it with when Ronaldo came to a super team with Real Madrid, that front three of Bale, Benzema, and Cristiano Ronaldo. Benzema was the one that was most disrespected. They said he was trash, this, that, and the other. The second Ronaldo left, you see the real Korean Benzema, right? Messi has always elevated his teammates. We've seen Suarez hit 40 goals a season. We've seen Neymar hit like 30 and 20 as a young kid. That guy was so tired of being in Messi's shadow, he went to another team and then recruited him to that team. Now we're gonna see a young player in Kylian Mbappe who's gonna be right next to Messi. That guy's gonna be even better this year. Probably gonna, I'd say, hit 35 goals in the league. Considering what Messi's creativity, is honestly not far fetched. I think it's a fantastic deal. It was so sad because as a football fan for so long, a soccer fan for so long, I had no idea that there was even a salary cap. That's how bad it got in La Liga. That's how horrible it got because no other league has a salary cap except La Liga. It's terrible, honestly. Laporta, I believe it was Laporta, right? Or Bartomeu, pardon me. That guy ran that club through the mud, and it all started with him signing Arda Turan on like a 3-year deal where he overpaid him. And ever since, you got Griezmann earning 600K a week. You got what's his name? Umtiti. That guy doesn't play. That guy earns like 500K a week. It's horrible, and it's sad because you knew Messi was gonna wanted to stay. He clearly did want to stay. It's just PSG pounced on the offer. He had the choice of playing with a team that he's been trying to recruit back to Barca for so long with Neymar. They're they're the scariest team I've seen in a while, but not the best team because I still look at prime Barca, prime Real Madrid, and I think they're still better.
Are they a lock for Champions League?
They should be, but I don't think they'll win it first year.
Whoa.
I don't think
All
they'll
right,
win it this
there's
year.
your hot take.
When was the last time PSG won Champions League?
Never.
Oh, they've never done it. Wow.
Never.
They made it to the finals last year and
Last year
lost
in the
to
bubble.
Bayern.
Yeah.
Who I think the only team that could challenge them is Bayern.
PSG?
Yeah.
I think City's in the mix. I think now that I think Tuchel figures out teams very well, and I think Chelsea could be nice with Lukaku, and it looks like City's potentially still going to get Harry Kane. So
they also just spent $100 million on Jack Grealish. Who
we saw PSG spend. You got 41 million to Messi. You had 15 million per year to Ramos, 12 million to Donnarumma. These guys were like everyone's calling them free transfers. You're still paying over 10 million per player per wages. That's a lot of money. You know what I mean? These clubs that are owned by like the Qatari, the Saudi owners, blank checkbook. So I mean, there's no reason that I think City can't buy Harry Kane. And I think, Bayern's in the mix. I think City, I think Chelsea, now that they picked up Lukaku, I think what they were missing, they won a Champions League without a striker, which is one of the most impressive feats I've seen in modern day football in a very long time. Because to be able to win games without scoring, that's terrible. That's embarrassing that people are losing to these guys. But like they were playing extremely well. Obviously, N'Golo Kante, fantastic run. But yeah, back to Messi, anyways. I'm ecstatic for Messi in terms of the fact that he finally gets a team he can compete with. Even at 34 years of age, this guy's out and out the best player in the world. He's killing it, and he's prioritizing competing for the World Cup, which is the only thing he's missing in his trophy case, right? He's got the Ballon d'Ors, the Golden Boots, the titles, the Champions Leagues. All he really wants is to concentrate on...
Just won a major international tournament with the
South America. Shout out to him for that.
America.
Big shout out to him for that. So all he wants is that World Cup, to be in that debate with all the all-time greats. He made a deal with PSG that there's a clause in his contract that if he needs to rest to play for Argentina, that's his decision. The Argentinian national team has complete access to PSG's facilities for training. So it's great. Shout out to Messi for securing the bag with PSG. I don't know if he's gonna stay all 3 years. He could. It kind of depends on what Neymar does. I feel like he has fun playing with that guy. He's a little bit older than him, but it depends what he wants to do. If Barcelona can pick up a deal in the next 2 years on a free agency thing. I'm sure he'll want to come back eventually, finish his career there. So we'll see what happens. But I'm ecstatic to see Messi with great teammates yet again.
2 years from now, or 3 years from now, we'll go 3 years from now because let's assume he takes the option. Where does he play on that new contract?
AC Milan. I'm kidding.
No.
Either Barca, Miami. I could see Miami being an option. He vacations there often. He's on good terms with David Beckham. I could see that being an option. Or Newell's Old Boys, obviously going back home to where he's from. I think those are the three. I honestly, had he not signed with PSG, my prediction was he was gonna take a complete year off and just train on his own for the pull some Michael Jordan thing and just pull up to the World Cup with no club and just win the whole thing somehow.
When's the World Cup?
2022, and it's gonna be in the winter,
like
for the
November,
first time.
December.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Because it's in Qatar and there's
it's
a whole
45 degrees in the summer, 50 degrees in the summer, so they got to do it in the winter.
There's a whole other conversation.
It's it's like an hour-long conversation.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Messi.
Messi. I'm happy for him. I think, I don't think he's staying there after the 2 or 3 years, but more power to him, obviously. With a great contract, a great team, a great city to be in for marketability. We know he's one of the, without even speaking English, he's one of the most marketable athletes out there. So good for him.
Yeah.
I have a different answer.
Okay.
I think you're right with the other 3 clubs, obviously.
Okay.
There's one more that isn't actually an official club yet.
Interesting.
Las Vegas.
Ah.
There were rumors over the weekend that Jorge Messi, his father, met with MLS and interested parties about a potential team in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Las Vegas has a USL team and they want an MLS team, I think pretty badly.
Yeah.
I could see something similar happening with Messi where he gets the David Beckham treatment. You come here, we give you a team for $50 million. You can buy a team whenever you want.
Yeah.
So I think it could be Las Vegas.
Interesting. I never even thought that they were going to have a team, but that's a good option as well.
Because they don't have a team. That's why you didn't think they would have a team, because they don't. That's a very out there prediction. There was an article this weekend talking about a bit about that. I didn't read it fully. I think that's going to be a very interesting option. I want your Champions League prediction, the final, right now.
For this year? Final?
Not knowing any of the matchups. Who are the 2 teams? Aiden, I want your answer too.
Sure.
I'm going to go Bayern and City.
Okay. Aiden?
Well, not knowing much.
That's why I'm asking you.
I'll probably go. I think PSG will make it at least one time in Messi's tenure. So why not this year? I'll go PSG. And who won it last year?
Chelsea.
Chelsea? I'll go Chelsea. Chelsea, PSG.
Interesting.
I will go PSG Bayern. Picked up a couple good defenders, and I think they could be really, really, really good.
A great coach on top of that.
Great coach who gets the best out of his fullbacks, which means good things for Davies. Plays him exactly how he should be played. But that entire Olympic conversation will be for another day. Because we have to do an Olympic qualifying, some sort of thing for Canada, because I think they're going to qualify. But again, another conversation for another day.
Shout out to the women's team for winning gold as well.
Shout out.
Yeah.
To Jordan's girlfriend. Not Jordan. That's the girlfriend. To Alfonso's girlfriend, Jordan.
Jordan. Yeah.
Let's do hot takes. Because Aiden has to go to work, and it's 2:15.
Yep.
If you're not familiar with hot takes, at the end of each episode, we do a segment called Hot Takes, where we give a prediction, a very out there prediction in the world of sports. In the past, Aiden's predicted that Mike Babcock would be fired correctly in the next 2 weeks.
I love
I
it.
predicted that the MLB would be the first league back, and they were promptly the last league back in North America. So we'd have ranging success rates, but I don't know if either of you have anything prepared.
I can take one off the top of my head.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll take AC Milan to win the Serie A this year.
That's a very hot take. That's
It's
a
a slightly biased sports talk right there.
That's shout out to the show. Shout out to the show.
There you go.
All right.
Aiden, do
Is
you
that
have one?
legit? Is that like?
I mean, it's
how
possible.
hot is that? Yeah.
Because a lot of the teams have gotten worse. The biggest challenger to, I'd say, the favored team has gone 50 times worse. The defending champs have gone 50 times worse. They've sold everybody. We've gotten better. We've kept, a core. You don't think we've gotten better?
Hey.
You just saw your starting keeper, who was the best.
And we
keeper
picked up the best keeper of the regular season. Had the most clean sheets in the top 5 leagues, and Mike Maignan. On a cheaper deal.
I love France because it has Jonathan David, and I love Lille because it's Jonathan David. But
yeah,
the quality of competition
is lower.
Isn't quite there with everywhere else, so it's not as difficult to put up clean sheets.
I think Mike is a great player. I think he's good. Like, he's never gonna fill the boots of Donnarumma. Don't get it twisted. But he's gonna be a good fit for what he's only getting, like, I believe, 6 mil per year. That's a fantastic deal because Donnarumma was asking for 12 mil a year, plus another 12 mil for his agent, and we're not made of money like that. You know what I mean? We're just not. So I think we have a decent. We still have, in my opinion, we have the best goalkeeper still in Serie A, even with Maignan, because there's no other goalkeeper that can compete with us. Best fullback, and Teo Hernandez. A good young defense with Romagnoli, Tomori, Calabria. You got Kier off the bench, who gives that star power. One of the strongest midfielders, you got Kessie and Benacer. Benacer with the glue for the team. Unfortunately, we clearly don't have a number 10 midfielder right now because Brahim Diaz is just not going to cut the mustard. We don't really have a right winger. Salamakers isn't going to be good enough. Our left wing's a little shaky because those players are both a little hit or miss with Leao and Rebic. But up top, we've got 2 veteran leaders in Giroud and Ibra. I don't think it's that far-fetched, but I don't think it's a favored pick for sure. So that's what I'll take as a hot take.
I'd agree with that. Aiden, you have anything?
All right, I'll go baseball because we haven't talked baseball. I'm gonna say George Springer will have a higher average than Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to end the season. And to put that into perspective, Springer's not even batting 300 right now. Vladdy's batting 318.
Wow. All right. Yeah. That's a hot take. I will go. What will I go? I will go basketball because we haven't talked. Well, we talked basketball and we didn't do any hot takes for basketball. I will say the Toronto Raptors are a lottery team again next year. And Goran Dragic is traded at the trade deadline.
All right. 2-1.
I like that.
But it will most likely be incorrect because I'm always incorrect on these. I have not a good track record, but who cares? Milan, thank you for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. If we could have gone longer, we definitely would have talking soccer, and Aiden would have. We could have just had Aiden leave, and actually,
if you guys want to, I can just leave.
No, we're good. We could talk soccer for a very long time because we're both soccer nerds. But thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find your hidden YouTube channel.
And that'll stay hidden forever, my friend.
Forever. We will link everything, all of your stuff down below. We'll link all of Aiden's stuff down below. The Unlimited Podcast, obviously. You can check out my stuff out at the MLS Multiplex Podcast. Written stuff. I need to do a written article. I haven't done one in about a month. All that stuff. Staff and Graph Podcast. Check it out. I edit it, even though they're not doing an episode this week. I edit it. What else do we have to shout out? Check out our practicums when we eventually start them. Because we haven't done that yet. But we're getting there. We're close. Check them out because we need people to check them out. So yeah, unless
Yeah.
either of you have anything else you want to say.
Any final words, Milan?
It's a pleasure to have been on, boys. I had a great time talking to you guys, whether it was about just sports or just the program myself. I had a great time being here, and I can't wait to listen to the future episodes. I want to hear more about other people in our program. So thank you guys again for having me.
Thank you for coming on. You
Anytime.
don't have to listen.
I want to.
All right, that's bold statement coming from you, but thank
That's
you.
the hot take.
We very appreciate it. Yes, unbelievably hot take. Check us out. We'll be back come the next episode.
Yeah.
Whenever there's more sports news, probably is a good way of putting it. Check out the other episodes we've done in the past. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the YouTube channel and this video. Share it with your friends, do all that fun stuff. Follow the Instagram because we don't shout the Instagram out enough at
The Big League Show on Instagram.
the Big League Show on Instagram.
Yep.
We don't post, but you can check our stories for when we
Check
put
the stories. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for joining us, and we will see all of you next time. Peace.